Hi everyone.
Good morning, participants. My name is Juveria, and on behalf of Faculty of Architecture and Planning, Abdul Kalam Technical University, Lucknow, I would like to welcome you all to the webinar series launched to engage with architecture students, researchers, educators, and fellow architects on various interesting topics. The theme for this webinar is the science of dealing with data analysis, with in-depth discussion on various data analysis methods made possible through SPSS. For carrying out meaningful research, one has to have gone through understanding of research methodology and statistics. Many researchers, while using statistical techniques to analyze the data, find it difficult to select an appropriate statistical technique and interpreting the results in the right way. This webinar is aimed at providing the participants with basic statistics knowledge and advanced data analysis skills. This will enable the participants to produce best quality research that helps in shaping the policies and practice. Our speaker for the session, Anshul Ujlan, is a data scientist who has worked with numerous Fortune 500 companies and served in key roles such as senior data scientist, engineer, architect, reporting directly to the CTO CSO. Anshul holds a Bachelor of Science and a Master's of Science in Applied Statistics and is pursuing a doctorate in the area of applied machine learning. He holds multiple certifications on AWS architecture, NLP NLG platforms, and advanced scientific programming from IIT Bombay. Throughout his entire career, he focused on developing and deploying cutting edge AI solutions across multiple domains and verticals. The main objective of his webinar is twofold and hence divided into two sessions, the current one and in continuation tomorrow at 11 a.m. The first is to help participants in selecting the right statistical tools and techniques for the research problem at hand. Second is carrying out data analysis using SPSS and interpreting its results. The webinar shall provide the participants hands-on experience in SPSS for entering the data, managing the data, performing appropriate tests, and interpreting the results. Without further delay, I would like to welcome Anshul to begin the session for today. Over to you, Anshul.
Hi everyone. Good morning. Thanks for joining. I know everybody is locked down at their home during this pandemic, but I would appreciate you guys are finding a time to join such a interesting webinar on data analysis, wherein I'll make you guys understand how and why this data analysis is useful for research, for any business, or our daily day-to-day life using SPSS. So the first thing which I'll start kind of explaining, and the topics which I'm going to cover during these sessions are first thing is to understand what is data analysis. I'll give you a couple of real life example where people are applying data analysis in their business, in their research work, even in different domain like pharma, transportation, e-commerce, banking, insurance, and all. Then I'll let you know and I will make you understand about the basics of SPSS software, which is a tool or product provided by IBM. Then we'll go for understanding the statistical analysis, statistical technique, and which technique we should use when. We will go for recognizing the different output coming out from the different statistical techniques in SPSS, and then we'll understand how we will kind of interpret, explain the findings and insights from SPSS tool for our research purpose or our business purpose. And finally, then we'll go for reporting the insights. So let's move to the next slide, wherein we will first discuss about the data. So if you guys have worked in any of the data analysis assignment during your bachelor's, master's, or during your job, you always struggle to first understand what is the data type, what are the different data type one should have. So we first need to understand what is data, what are the different type of the data we can get in real life, and how we should use that different kind of data for our analysis purpose. So the first thing which is really useful in SPSS as well is to understand the data. What kind of data we have got? You may have got the data from e-commerce, you have got the data in terms of questionnaire, or you have got the data from any of the banking client, any of the insurance client. Then you need to understand what are the different variables we do have in our data, what are the types of different variables we do have. So for that purpose, we need to understand the type of the data. So there are two types of data we usually deal with. One is categorical data, another is metric data. So if I'm saying categorical data, so categorical data is like if we are assigning any category to the observation recorded by someone is categorical. That means it's not measurable in the quantitative term. So anything which cannot be measured in quantitative form is called categorical or qualitative data. So there are two types of categorical data. One is nominal, another is ordinal. I'll explain them further in detail in next slide. But for your reference, the nominal data where we are just assigning a categories. Let us say we do have a data wherein we are recording the sentiments and we are assigning the categories like agree, disagree, neutral, or strongly disagree. So these are the different categories we are assigning to the response of the responder, and we are putting them in different categories, just like 4 categories here: agree, disagree, strongly disagree, or neutral. The next is in the categorical data is ordinal data. So ordinal data is nothing but if you are assigning an order to the nominal data, that is ordinal. Let us say we are assigning value 0 to the neutral, value 1 to to agree, value 2 to disagree, and value 3 to strongly disagree. So we are putting the qualitative data in an order. So that is becoming a data which is ordinal data. Similarly, on other side, if we have the quantitative data, which is nothing but the metric data, and we have the values like which is concentrating on one point, like discrete value, like natural number, real number. So all of that is discrete. And then we can have a scale wherein the values is lying between, let us say, 0 to 10. So in that case, we are having the continuous variable. So to explain it more, let's move to the next slide, wherein you will understand what is nominal data, because in most of the cases in data analysis, you will get to know that what kind of data you do have, whether it's nominal, ordinal, discrete, or continuous. So for an example, anything which is nominal will be explained like the data which is divided into classes or categories, just like blood category, blood type, cause of disease. All that is nominal data because we cannot assign a quantitative value here. The ordinal data, on the other hand, is the data which is already divided into different categories or classes, and we can assign a meaningful order to it, is called the ordinal data. Just like very satisfied, satisfied, neutral, unsatisfied, or very unsatisfied. On the other hand, on the discrete data type, when you have a counting process in your data set, you can say this is a discrete data set. For an example, number of patients visiting to a hospital, number of doctors in a hospital, all that is discrete data. And the continuous data, we can say any process just like weight, height, blood measurement in the human body is all continuous. So once we know about all the data type we can have in our data, we need to first understand how we can measure them on different scale. So there are different scales. I will not put more time here. I will not spend more time here. I'll just give you an overview. So there are different scales. The primary scales of measurement is nominal, ordinal, and interval, also the ratio. And the basic characteristics of all these measurements is nominal will use and will have a basic characteristic called numbers or classified object. Ordinals will have the related objects in an order form. Interval is nothing but the difference between the two objects. And ratio is having a unique characteristic. Ratio measurement is having a unique characteristic, which is 0 point is fixed. Ratio of scales value can be compared. So this is the first thing which somebody need to understand before he or she will go for data analysis about the data. We need to first understand the type of the data, measurement of the data, and different characteristic of the data, which I have explained. Now, before we jump into the SPSS, we need to understand why we guys are doing data analysis and why we need SPSS. So in most of the cases, if we have a small data set, let us say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 variables, and we have few observations, let us say 5, 10 observation, we can do it using the calculator on our own, using notebook and pen. But if the data is in huge form and it's very large, we have hundreds of variables and we have thousands of observation, we cannot perform that task manually. So we need to use some tool which can help us to perform the analysis, help us to compute few statistics about the data, help us to come up with the insight from the data. So for that purpose, we have several tools available, which is some of them are open source, some of them are proprietary. SPSS is one of them, which is mostly used by researchers, and it's a quite old software. And initially, SPSS was coming in tapes, and people are using it long back, about 30-40 years back. So SPSS is one of the oldest statistical analysis package. So we will study SPSS, we'll study how we can do data analysis on SPSS, wherein we'll cover different steps of data analytics. So for that purpose, let's move and first understand how we can start SPSS. So I'm just clicking on this icon, which is nothing but IBM SPSS statistics tool, which will open now. It will take little time. So I don't know how many of you are aware of that SPSS initially was a individual company, and long back in 2008 IBM has acquired SPSS, and then it became a part of IBM SPSS Statistics. So this is SPSS, and this is the first interface of SPSS where you do have different panels here, and different panels have their significance, their different characteristic here. So if you will look at the upper left corner, it's showing new files. So within these new files, there are two options. One is create a new data set, which we'll do in few minutes. And the second option is query the database. If you already have your data recorded somewhere in some other database, you can just query it and get it into the SPSS. You can also find several sample files within SPSS which you can use for doing practice or for exploring what kind of different variables we can have in different data set related to different domain. Just like if you will see, there is one data set called accident, one data set related to bank loans, data set related to broadband, breakfast, grocery and all. So you can use, if you don't have any data set to analyze, you can use a sample data set from this window, and you can just click it open and it will open the sample data set for you. So initially what we'll do on this, we'll start by creating new data set on SPSS. So the steps we will follow, the first step we'll understand how we can create the data set in SPSS, how we can import the different data set which is already available in CSV format, in Excel format, or in some other format, how we can import those data sets into SPSS. So I'll click on new data set. Then it will open three different windows here. This particular window, which is nothing but the data editor of SPSS, wherein you have two views. One is data views and another is variable view. Data view is used for creating the values in the data set, and variable view is used to create the number of variables which will become the column headers in data. So this data editor helps us to get the data directly from any of the data set which is already available. You can just get it by clicking it like this. This is the sample data set I'm just opening and showing you how we can open it directly. See, so this is the sample data set which we can directly open from the sample data set available in SPSS. And this is the data view for that data set. And these are the different variables we do have. We will understand about the different attribute of these variables and how we will create the different characteristic of these variables in SPSS for analysis purpose. So we can directly get the available data into SPSS. But what if we need to create our own data set? So for that purpose, what you need to do is you need to first create the variables. Let us say I'm creating a data set related to the employees of a company. So the first thing what I'll have for employees is the ID. I can say employee ID. The next I can have name. Then I can have gender. Then I can have income. Then I can have marital status. I can also have academic qualification. So I'm defining the name of the variables here. And if you will see, by default, this employee ID is taking a type of the variable as numeric, but employee ID cannot be numeric. So we need to define the type of the variable with the number of characters uh, or the length of the employee ID. We also need to define the decimal point if there is any. We need to define the labels. Labels is nothing but the description of the variables. Then we need to define values. If there are any missing values, we can define it here. We need to define the column length, alignment, left alignment, right alignment, measurement, and broad. And measurement is nothing but the data type. So the first thing we need to do is we need to define the employee type. So employee ID is nothing but the string for us always. It can have the length about 8. That is fine. There is no decimal element in string ID of the employee. We can define a label here for this variable. What are the different values it can take? These values are continuous, so I mean these values are nominal, so we cannot define it. There is no missing value. Alignment left, nominal. Let's input variable. Then name is again a string. We can say okay. Gender is again a string for us. We can say this, and then we can say name of the employee here, gender of the employee. Gender of the employee, if I'm just defining it like this, M for male, I can just add it, F for female. So instead of having the full male and female, we can have F and M. So I've just defined it. So you will see in the data set, it will take the value M and F for male and female. Income is numeric. It will not have any decimal point into it. It may have, so we can have one. Marital status is again a string. We can define the label for all the variable income of the employee here. Marital status of the employee. Then academic qualification. Okay, so academic qualification of the employees can be assigned with some value. I can say bachelor. I can say, let's say bachelor for B, or I can just put here bachelor signs. Okay, I need to first define this as a string. That is why it was not taking it. I'm just putting BSc and the Bachelor of Science, MSc and Master of Science. The same. Okay. Now, what we did, we have only created the different variables in our data set. We have defined their types, their width, their labels, their description, and they are having the values within it. So what we are doing here, we created values like BSc and MSc, Master of Science, Bachelor of Science for qualification. So this variable become ordinal for us. Let us say we are putting it ordinal. Let's see what will happen. I'm keeping it normal. Now I'm coming here and I can see whatever the variables I have created in the variable view, all those variable names are coming here as a column name. Now I can define or I can insert or manually enter the name here. Let's say assign the name and just putting here. I'm assigning the income. Married M, single S. Let's see. So that is how we can create a data set within SPSS. Is that clear to everyone, or you guys have any question around it? If you have any question, please raise your hand. So this is the way we can create the data set within SPSS manually. The other way, let us say we are saving this data set as a sample data set, created manually. We can just save it in one of the directory we do have. Now, if we want to open any of the existing data set, I've shown you how we can open it. If you want to open any of the data set which is already available in any other format, not in .sav. .sav is the format of the SPSS profile. If we do have our data in Excel format, how we can import that into SPSS? So just go to that file, select that file, open it, and then it will pop up a window which will show you the worksheet HS0. It has this is the dimension of that Excel sheet starting from A1 to column A201. It will ask you a few options called read variable names from the first row of the data. You can say yes. We can deselect it if we don't want to delete the variable name. If we want to select the variable name, we can just click it. It can also ask you to remove all the leading spaces string value in the string value of the variable name. You can just select this. If you don't want, then don't do it. You can also remove the trailing spaces in the values if you want. And here you can see the preview of your data set. And if you are okay with this preview, you can just say okay. Then it will open this data set for you. And now whenever you will open any of the data set, you first need to look at the variable view, and you need to understand what are the different variables we do have, what are their type, what are their different values, their measurement. So the variable name, variable type, values, and the measurement is something which is very important to look at while you are importing or creating any data set within SPSS. Now you can go to the data view, and then you can see this is the data set which we have imported from the Excel file into SPSS. So that is how you can create the SPSS data set from a Excel file. I'm just saying don't save it. I'm just closing it as well. Now let's see how we can import any CSV file into SPSS. So to import any CSV file, you need to first see these different options, and you can see the preview as well. This is the CSV file which is comma separated values. You can see in different variable name there is a comma in between. So you need to specify what are the different delimiter you do have. So there are options. Does your text file matches the predefined format? This option suggests if you already imported any of the CSV file which has the same format as this file, you can just select that file. It will automatically pick up the characteristic and attribute, also the format of that file, and arrange it accordingly. If you don't have it, just click on continue. It will ask you, is there any delimiter used in this file? Yes, we have used comma as a delimiter, which help us to segregate the values in different column. Yes, we do have the variable name in the first row in our data set. It will also ask about what is the decimal symbol. I will say nothing. I will click here. Then again I click here because we don't need to do anything here. Then you need to look at this preview before you say continue. You can see all those commas are removed and each of the variables become a column. Here there are different options for delimiter. You can choose one of them. If you know what is the delimiter used in your CSV file, you can select one of them and then you can click on OK. If you wanted to change the variable name of any of the column, you can change it here by selecting these columns like this. You will see the variable name is changing. You can change them. You can also change the format. We are saying automatic. Automatic is nothing. It will take the input from the base file, which is CSV file, into the SPSS and read it automatically, whether it's numeric or the variable data type is string. Now click on OK and say done. So before you say done, you need to see these two options. The option 1 says, have you successfully defined the format. Yes, we have defined it. Do you want to save that format? No, we don't want. Would you like to paste the syntax? What does that mean? If I'm saying yes, then I'll show you how this syntax will come up. I said yes. See, I said yes, paste the syntax. So what happened is, if we don't want to use the interface of SPSS, we can directly write down the code to read any of the data set. So we read a data set called hs0.csv from this location. It has some encoding UTF-8. It has a delimiter. It's delimited, and the different variables here are these, and we just use this code to import the data set into SPSS. Now, if you will look at the data set, this is the data set which we have created. It has 5 elements here. So that is how we can import any external data set into SPSS. Let's go to the next step, wherein we'll start how we can analyze and explore this data set within SPSS. So I'm opening one of the sample file here. Let us say this. So this is the sample data set we took. We have 11 different variables here. We have gender, ID, race, and the scores in different written test. These are the variables we do have. Now, what we need to do is we need to start analyzing this data set. So if you will see this particular window, data editor, you can open any of the file from the repository, you can save it, you can print it. You can go and check for different cases available within this data set. So if you want to split your data set according to some case, you can just go and click this. Go to the case number. Let us say I'm directly wanted to go to a row. I'm going to row 38. So it will directly go to row 38. If you wanted to go, if you have a huge data set with so many variables with you, and you wanted to go to a particular column or particular variable, you can just select that variable and you can go to that variable directly, just like this. So these are the different options available within SPSS which help you to navigate the data set easily. Now, if you want to split your existing file in 2 different files, let us say this is the file I do have, and it has gender male and female both here, and I wanted to segregate it or split it in 2 parts, where I want a separate file for female candidates and separate file for male candidate. We can just click here, we can select gender, and I'm clicking here. So you will see it's already split it. So whenever you will use it, it will use male and female separately. Now These are the options which is available for simply formatting your data set. There is nothing which is related to the data analysis until now. Let's move to the next step. We do have a data set with us, and we will navigate the different options available within SPSS to help us analyzing the data. So for that, first go to the data menu and see what are the different operations we do have. So we do have define variable properties, we do have set measurement label of unknown. So all those activity, if you will see, are already listed down here. So the data view is another way of formatting your data set, wherein you can sort the variable, you can transpose it, you can merge different files, you can restructure the file, you can aggregate the data set, split, select cases, and you can assign the weightage to it. So all these options you can try one by one on your data set. I'll not spend much time on it because I'll give it you some exercise to do it on your own, because it will help you to explore the SPSS in better way. I'll spend more time on data analysis, graph visualization and all. So these are the observation. We'll come back when we'll do the data analysis. Next is the transform. So transform help us to perform different computation on or different calculation on our variable. Let us say I'm clicking on this compute variable. So what it will do, it will help us to calculate or apply different formula on our data set. Let us say I'm creating one more variable, which is total marks, because we do have a data set where we do have the scores in different subject. I'm creating a variable called total. I'm taking maths score. I'm adding it with science score, and then I'm saying okay. So you will see there is one more variable created out here called total. If you wanted to perform some other computation or some other calculation on it, you can directly go here, define the variable. Let us say I'm defining it like average score. Okay, so I already have math science here. I can also have one more variable, says writing score. I can also have reading score. And then what I wanted to do, I wanted to calculate the average. So first thing I need to see here whether this is already available as a function. So if you will click on statistical, it will show you what are the different functions we already have for calculation. Just like we have CF, maximum, mean, median, mode, and variance. We wanted to do mean. So what we need to do for mean is we need to select it, and then we need to start putting the variable here. This is the another way of doing this. I'm just selecting all these variables here. Just put comma. Click OK. So you will see there is one more variable created out here, which is average score. So that is how you can calculate different variables from your base data set within SPSS by using transform compute variable. The next is, let us say you do have to find out the number of cases in a particular categories. So you need to use count values within case. I'm clicking on it. Let us say I'm creating one new variable CNT for program type. So what we'll do, we'll see the different program type and we'll count those values. Target variables is this, target label, defining anything, and the variable which we want to take here is program type. If we need to define the values, we can define here. We can put the if condition if we want to put. And then you can say we need to first see what are the different program type here. It's general. Let's click on this. The next value is McCarthy. Let us say these two values we are concentrating on. We are clicking on OK. Okay, so you can see here what it does. It has created the count here, how many counts we do have. So wherever it will find general, it will put 1 there. So for each category, it's counting. I've got a few questions. Okay. So is there any question until now from anyone? Jwaria, can you ask all the participants if they do have any question?
Not yet, sir. We don't have anything that has come in the chat box yet. Participants, if you have any questions, you can please send us a chat message and I can direct them to sir.
Sure. So let me continue for another 10 minutes and then what I'll do, I'll ask all of you if you guys can install SPSS on your system, and then I'll give you some exercise at the end of this session. So be ready for that. So that is how you can do or perform the countings for a particular case. Now, the next is recording into same variables. Recording into same variables means what? We are trying to put some category or put some calculation on or apply some calculation on a variable which is already available in the data set. We can use record into same variable. Record into different variable is something which will help you to apply a function on one column here and then record it into the another one. So let's try it quickly. You can select any of the variables, let us say writing score. So the old value in writing score, let us say 1, or missing, you can just select that. All missing values it will take. So whatever the old values we do have here in either maths score, writing score, reading score, or science score, we can just convert that value. Let us say for an example, for better understanding, is we wanted to convert 57 to some other value. We can just use transform record into the same variable, which will assign let us say 57. The old value is 57 and I wanted to assign new value, let us say 60. So that is how you can do that. Now the next is, there are situations wherein if we do have a numeric variable, just like here, we do have several numeric variables: reading score, writing score, maths, science. We can select any of the variable, and then I wanted to create the different categories for these variables, or let us say I wanted to create the categories on total marks for this particular data set. So there are ways to do that. How we can do that? We need to use visual binning. So visual binning is nothing but it will help you to assign different categories in your data set. I mean, on different intervals. Let us say all the students having total marks 0 to 14 will come in one categories, 50 to 60 will come in one category, 60 to 70 will come in one categories, and more than 70 will go in another categories. So for that purpose, we use visual binning. So I'm taking this variable here. I'm clicking on continue. So look at this. If you will look at this distribution shows how we do have different values in our data set. And we took this variable total. We wanted to put some name for the binned variable. So I'm just putting it total bin. We know the minimum value in total is 70 and the maximum value is 47. So we need to split it in different parts. So what we can do, we can assign a label. We are saying high. High means what? Greater than 100. We are saying low. Within this data set, I am saying less than 50 is low. Make cut point, first cut point location. Let's say I'm saying I need 5 different cut points here. First cut point location is 50. So I'm trying to divide the whole data set in 5 different points. It will give us what should be the interval, I mean the range for cut point. Say apply. So we got these different values here. We can assign the labels here, low, moderate, I'm just giving average, high, very high. And then string. Just for an example, I'm clicking on OK. So it's saying that it will create one more variable in our data set. So you'll see we have got one more variables, and if you will look at this, it will show you in variable view, there is one more variable created, which has these different values in it. So without doing it manually, what we did, if we wanted to create or split our particular variable in different categories basis on the numeric value in that variable, we can directly use visual bin, and we can select the variable, and we can assign or we can divide our data set in desired number of, I'm just putting, let us say 10, and I want 5 cut points. So you see it has got different categories here, and if you wanted to move any of the values from here to somewhere else, you can just move it like this. That's all depend on what kind of analysis you guys are doing. So all these things will help you while you're doing real analysis. So these are the steps. See, all these values will change if I'll move these lines from here to here. So that is how we can do visual binning into SPSS on any of the data sets we do have. I'm just canceling it. There is one more option. This visual binning, we decided how many cut points we do have, how many, I mean, what is the minimum value and what should be the maximum value. We can do it in other way as well, wherein system will define what should be the optimal binning. In how many categories I should divide this variable. We can select this variable, and once we select it, go to output endpoint for win. No, missing value. No, okay. Start giving any output. Let me try it again. I'm taking this total, not this one. I'm taking average score here. Okay, let me select if I wanted to use any of the observation. That is fine. Say okay, fine. So you can see here. It will show you the output here, binning summary. So we got two values for gender. Gender 1 is male, female, and these are the different binnings it has got for us. Now we are done with visual binning, we are done with the optimal binning. We'll come to the data modeling and data preparation, how we can do it automatically, how we can do it interactively. So before that, I would like to take a 5 to 10 minutes break, and during this break what I want you guys to do is to get the SPSS trial version on your system, and you can get it I got a question from Vatsalya, and the question is SPSS a complex version of Microsoft Access? No, SPSS is not a complex version of Microsoft Access because SPSS is designed for analysis and MS Access is designed to build a customized business application. So one is the programming language for business to create, manage the data or render the data, that is Microsoft Access. But SPSS is to analyze, visualize, generate insight from your data set. So there is a difference between these two. I hope I have answered it. I have answered the questions. So guys, what you need to do is, Juvari, where can I paste the link for downloading IBM trial version
So
for
there is a
SP?
chat box. There will be an option for chat box on your control panel. Over there, you can send it to the entire audience.
I hope everybody got it by now. Did you get it, Juvari?
I think it's just come to us, so I'll just copy and paste the link for everyone.
Okay, that's fine. So guys, if you can download this SPSS trial version and you will do the practice with me, it will help you to understand it a little better because until now we are only able to cover data and half of the transform. We will go little faster and we'll cover this transform and graph today, and then tomorrow we'll do the analysis part wherein we'll take different statistical tests, regression analysis, how we can perform regression analysis, and how we need to prepare the data for regression analysis. All that we'll cover. So let's take a pause for 5 to 8 minutes here, and then meanwhile you guys can install SPSS trial version, or you can at least download it, and we'll start from there. Okay.
So we'll resume again at 12:20. It's 12:11
Yep.
right now. We resume at 12:20.
Yep. So let's meet at 12:20. Thank you. Hi everyone, shall we start now?
I think we can start. I think we've given them 10 minutes to download. I hope everyone's done it.
Okay, so we were looking at this data set wherein we do have scores for different students in different subject. Now the next part and the functionality of SPSS, which is very important for data analysis, is to look at the different variables for date and time. If we wanted to rank few of the cases basis on their characteristic, we can use rank the cases, date and time. So I will use all these things when we'll do the data analysis part, so that you guys can understand the usability of these different options. So I'll use each one of them. Now we are going to analyze part, so that we can first understand what we already know. We got the data in SPSS. The next thing everybody thinks is, what should we do next with this data set? So the next part is to understand what are the different variables we do have, what is the distribution of different variables we do have, is there any correlation between the variables in the data set? If there is highly correlated variables within the data set, how I should take them into the analysis so that the insights will become more useful. So all those questions or thoughts we need to answer with the help of this tool SPSS on our data set. Here we already have the data set which we have created manually, and now we took another data set and then we are just trying to see or explore this data set more by looking at the measures of central tendency, which is nothing but mean, median, mode for all the variables into the data set. Then we need to look at the measure of dispersion, which is nothing but variance, standard deviation, range, mean deviation, quartile deviation. So all that we need to look at. So if you have any data set and you wanted to look at what are the different variables, what are their average, what is the variance in the different variables, you need to go to analyze, go to descriptive. You will find different options here. Frequencies, descriptives, explore. If you want to do cross tabulation, you wanted to do PP plot or QQ plot. Basically PP plot and QQ plot have their own significance, which I'll let you know how we utilize these two plots to look at the distribution of different variables, whether they are following a particular distribution or not. Mostly we always want our data set and all the variables in the data set should follow a normal distribution. So for looking at the distribution of the distribution, whether they are following normal distribution or not, we use PP plot and QQ plot. We can also look at different distribution as well with the help of PP plot and QQ plot, and I will tell you how. So the first thing in the descriptive statistics, which is very important to look at the data, explore the data we do have, we'll click on frequency, and then we can see the frequencies of different values in the variables. I mean the occurrence of different values in one variable. Let us say I'm clicking on program type as one variable, scheme type another variable, and I need to click what are the statistics I wanted to look at. I want to look at mode. I'm just saying continue, and I'm clicking OK. So see, I took two variables. One is program type. So these are the different program types we do have in our data set. We can directly see the frequency of each of the program in our data set. So we got 105 academic observation in our data set, 45 general observation in our data set, and 50 observation in our data set. We can also see in percentage, academic is the highest percentage in our data set. So this is the tabular view to look at the frequency of different value in different data set we do, different variable we do have in our data set. Now, if I'll go next and on descriptive itself, if I'll go for descriptives, what it will do for me is, I think let's go for this one first, because it will help you to understand it more. I'm selecting few more numeric variable here, like reading score, writing scores, and score in social studies, and selecting few more statistics here. Let us say quartile deviation, mean, median, mode, and sum. We can select measure of dispersion like standard deviation, minimum value, maximum value, variance, range, standard error of mean. You can see skewness, kurtosis. I'm just clicking continue, and then I'm just clicking on chart. So what kind of chart I want you to look at? Let us say I want you to look at the bar chart. Continue. Okay. So here is the table. So what I did, I selected all the scores and few variables, and then I wanted to look at what are the different statistics, measure of central tendency, measure of dispersion of all those variables. So you see, we have program type, scheme type, reading score, writing score, and all. And we know these are the cases, those are valid. There is no missing values in these variables. We can directly see in the output of this tool. We can also look at the mean of each of the score here. We can see the standard error of the mean for each of the variable here. We can see median, mode, standard deviation, variance, skewness, kurtosis, range, minimum and maximum value, percentile, also the frequency distribution, which we already saw. Here, it will show you individually what are the frequency of different values in that variable. And in the end, it will show you the distribution of each of the variable in bar chart. See, this is reading score, which seems to be skewed on right side. So that is how you can directly look at the distribution of your variables into your data set using the option called in the menu analysis, the option called descriptive statistics and frequency. So that's the direct way of exploring your data quickly. What you do have, what are the distribution of different variables in your data set. Is there any question until now from anyone? Please let me know or write it down in the question answer chatting. The next part in descriptive statistics is descriptives. So you need to select the variables here. What are the different variables you need to look at? Let us say these are the variables I'm interested in. Click on options. Check any of the value which you want. You can have standard deviation, variance. I'm also clicking on range. I am clicking on skewness, let us say curtices as well. And clicking on continue. Okay. So it will show you the same value mostly, but in different format. It will calculate all the descriptive statistics in a tabular format for you. So you can use either frequencies or descriptives, one of them. Frequency will give you graphs and all. Descriptive will give you a tabular format of all the measurements for central tendency and measure of dispersal. The next option, which is very useful within descriptive statistics, is explore. So this explore will help you to see the different variables, their movement according to, let us say, I have one dependent list and I wanted to see how the variables are behaving to each other. So I'm taking these two here. I'm taking rest of two here. All descriptives. I want to look at the outliers as well. Factor labels. I don't want to do anything yet. Display both statistics and plot. Clicking on OK. So see, in this particular graph, it draws the box plot for you, which says that if social studies score are moving horizontally and writing scores are moving vertically, how the graphs will look like. That means that how these two variables are behaving to each other. So if you will see here, if social studies score is 40, or I would say the highest score of social study is greater than 50, not social studies, I would say the writing score is greater than 50. The social studies score at the same time is 31. That means that if somebody has writing score is more than 50, that guy has the study score 31. If you will look at here, a guy who has the social studies score 46, writing score is lying somewhere near to 60 here. So this particular graph is showing you the distribution in respect of writing score of the student. In another graph, it will show you the scatter plot between different values we do have. So this is another way to looking at how our data set behaving, what are the distribution of different variable in our data set. We can also go for cross tabulation. So cross tabulation will help us to see how we can hierarchically shows our data set or aggregate our data set with different variables. I'm taking let us say row program, and I would say yes, and column I'm taking readings for all these scores here, and I wanted to show chi-square test for it. There is a correlation. Continue. What are the statistics I want to choose? Cells observed. Okay. Fine. And now I'm clicking on display cluster bar chart as well. Clicking on OK. So this is the cross tabulation. So cross tabulation between program time and the reading score. We got 200 observation. All observation are valid. No missing value. And here is the actual cross tabulation. In these different program types, what are the marks for student? You can see. So this particular tool help you to perform the different cross tabulation to help generating insight quickly without doing so much manual things like in Excel. You can also look at the graph here. So this graph is showing you the different marks in reading scores, I mean the scores in reading in different program type like academic. These are the marks scored by the students. In program type general, these are the marks. So if you will look at these three graphs, you can easily figure out that the highest marks of the students in reading are coming from the academic program, not from the general, not from the vocabulary. But vocabulary has better score in reading than program type. So a lot of insights you can directly generate by looking at these graphs from SPSS. Then you can look at the cross tabulation between program type and writing score. Again, in writing scores, academic program is doing well. Students have good marks here. Then the program type like general and vocabulary. Similarly, if you will see, there is a change in math score. Vocabulary is performing better than the general and academic. So directly we can infer that what is happening within our data set. You can also look at in the social studies what is happening. The students scores better again in academic than general and vocabulary. Okay? So these graphs will give you a quick inference about the different data set, about the different variables within the data set and the distribution of those variables for each of the categories. Like we do have SAS here, low, middle, and high. Now let's move to the other option in analysis. In descriptive, we already gone through to the cross tabulation. You can go for ratio, but ratio is not that much useful, but we'll use it tomorrow. Let's move to the PP plot and QQ plot for your understanding. Why we use it, what is the significance of PP and QQ plot. So PP plot is nothing but the probability plot. QQ plot is quartile plot. Let's click on it. Choose any of the variable if you want to look at the distribution of social studies, whether it's following any distribution or not. Insert it here. Check the distribution. You want it to validate whether this particular variable called social studies score following a particular distribution. Here we can choose any of them: normal, Pareto, student t, Weibull, uniform, beta, chi-square, exponential, gamma. For this instance, I'm choosing normal, and then I'm clicking on OK. So let's see how the graph looks like. So if you look at this graph, what does it mean? It's showing you one straight line on 45-degree angle. So this straight line is nothing but the line for normal distribution. And these dots are nothing but the observation in our data set for social studies score. And by looking at this graph, what one can infer is, if the distance between these dots and this line is minimum, and you can see most of the dots are coming nearby this line, it may be that these dots are scattered everywhere up and down, and in that case we cannot say this is approximately following the normal distribution. But in this case, all dots are following this line throughout the data set, and we can say by looking at the statistics above, so these are the statistics we have got, and what these statistics giving us is, in normal distribution we got location is 52.4050, scale 10.73579. so these two parameters, if you guys remember the probability distribution function or probability density function of normal distribution, it's written down like n mu sigma. So mu is nothing but the mean and sigma is the standard deviation. So to know any of the distribution, we should know the parameter of that distribution. Then we can estimate whether this particular data set follows this particular distribution. So here mu and sigma we have got, and these mu and sigma help us to see with the help of this graph whether this particular variable called social studies score is following normal distribution. And the only way of looking at that is with the help of this graph. If all the observations are coming near to the straight line on 45-degree angle, then we can say it's nearly following the normal distribution. Otherwise, it's not following the normal distribution. Let's try with another distribution for better understanding. I'm selecting, let us say, uniform. And let's see what will happen. So you can see the difference. Most of the observation in this graph are not nearby this straight line. But in the previous graph, they were very near to this straight line. So with the help of this graph, we can say this particular variable, social studies score, is not following the uniform distribution. We can try it with another distribution as well to see whether it's following some other distribution or not. Let's click on beta and see the graph. See what it says. It's showing some warning saying that the following variable are removed from the analysis social studies score. The beta distribution require all non-missing value to be greater than or equal to 0. That means the beta distribution is only defined for non-zero values. But in our data set, we do have some missing values and we cannot plot the beta distribution here. So if we wanted to plot the beta distribution, we need to first impute all missing value by non-missing values. Let's try with another distribution and then we'll go for QQ-plot. I'm trying for logistic, not logistic, let us say gamma, log normal. So log normal is another form of the normal distribution. And see, normal and log normal again giving the similar story that all the observations are coming nearby this straight line. So we can say this particular variable is following normal distribution. So this is one way of visualizing and inferring about the distribution of the variable under study. Now let's go for QQ-plot. So QQ-plot is similar to PP-plot. Let's select the variable. This time I'm selecting math score as a variable, looking at whether it's following the normal distribution or not. See the graph. This is another form of looking at the distribution of the variable through QQ-plot. This graph also suggests, except the few values, most of the values are coming or falling on this line and are nearby this line. So most of the observation in this variable are nearby the line of normal distribution. So we can say it's following a normal distribution. So that is how we can explore our data set with the help of descriptive statistics. What are the different distribution we do have? What are the measures of central tendency, measure of dispersion, how we can explore it, how we can cross tabulate and show the aggregated values falling in different categories in a hierarchical way. We can plot the distribution of the different variables to show which distribution is following with the help of PP-plot and QQ-plot. The next thing which we are going to do today is correlation. I hope everybody knows correlation. So correlation is a measure of degree of relationship between two or more variables. So for this, let's click on bivariate to measure the correlation between two variables. We do have the partial correlation and the distance correlation. I'll explain it one by one. Let's go to the bivariate correlation first. Select any two variables. The variable need to be numeric variable. Select options. You can select any of the option which you want. And then there are different correlation type. Cole-Pearson's correlation, Kendall-Tau correlation, Spearman correlation. We can select whether it should be two test or one test, one-tailed or two-tailed. Here are the scores. And we can explain these scores like this. The correlation between reading and writing score is 5.97. That means that there is a positive correlation between these two variables, reading score and writing score. That means if somebody has good score in reading, it will automatically have good score in writing. So 1 unit change in writing score will increase 1 unit in reading score by this value. We can see the correlation in different variables like I'm taking social studies, removing writing, and let's see what is the correlation coming out. So it says that the correlation between writing scores and social study is 0.605. That means 0.6, I can say, which is the positive correlation. If you wanted to look at the correlation between the scores of two subjects, let us say social study and mathematics. So it shows that the correlation between social study and mathematics is 0.54. That means if somebody is good in social study, he will be equally good in maths. Or 1 unit change in math is 0.54 times change in social study. So these are the different functionality of SPSS which help us to explore our dataset and visualize the distribution of different variables within our dataset. Also look at the correlation between different variables we do have and explain it with some insights. Now let's pick up because there are many options available here which we'll discuss in detail. We'll go for testing, statistical testing, t-test, f-test, z-test tomorrow, and regression and clustering tomorrow. But we can start the graph. So until now, we were able to plot these graphs using different options available in descriptive statistics and correlation. Now let's see how we can prepare different visualization using graphs model here. So it will ask you define variable properties and all. Click on OK. What are the different variables you need to study in the graph? I took all these. I'm not putting any restriction on it. If you need to do any edit to the property of the variable, anything which is changing the formatting and changing the attribute, changing the labels, you can do it here. Define the role. I'm just saying target attribute. You can define, let us say, scores. Subjects. I'm clicking on OK. Something went wrong. So we have already decided about the properties. Now let's go to the chart builder and select what chart you want. You can just drag it like this. Drag a gallery chart first. I just dragged the gallery chart from here. And now I can choose the x-axis and y-axis here. Let us say I want to see the program type on x-axis and the reading score on mean reading score on y-axis. And I'm just saying okay. So it's showing us the mean reading score in different categories, in different program type. What we can do here, we can go back, we can double click on it and we can do some edit on this chart. We can do chart sizing, we can choose the variable, we can put some labels here. Let's say I'm putting it. So all that thing you can do, that means the edit of the chart. So what I did, I got the value. That means what is the average value. So the data labels I have got here. The reading score for academic category is 56.16, for general 49.76, for vocabulary it's 46.20. So you can make your chart more interactive by using different options within the graph chart builder, which is a direct way of drawing your chart. You need to select one of the chart here, either 3D or 2D. There are different charts available. Let us say we wanted to draw a pie chart. Select. Program type is already selected. We can say okay, chart appearance. We can select different colors here. You can go for options. You can see if you wanted to break the variable, exclude something out here, you can exclude it. You can choose basic elements. You can group few things. You can put title, subtitle, footnote. Just click on OK. So you'll see the legend here and the pie chart. You can put some text out. So all these options you need to explore one by one. I hope you all have the SPSS downloaded on your system. What I want you guys to do is install it. If you are facing any problem, let me know. I have few tutorial for you guys to go through. So the tutorial you can find on the University of SLA, UCLA. There are a lot of good material available there, which you can try for data analysis, data preparation, and there are different statistical techniques for which you can find the data set as well as the different reporting scenario, which will help you to analyze the data and report it in a better way. I'll also share one of the ebook. If you need it, send me an email, I'll forward it to you, or I can share it with Jwara and she can share it with you all. Until now, we were able to cover data import, we were able to explore and explain the data preparation. We will do data analysis. We just did how we can transform, decode, find correlation, explore the variables within the data set, and draw a basic graph for our data set. Tomorrow, we'll do the testing of hypothesis. We'll do one good use case for multiple linear regression as well as logistic regression. We'll go for one model building for cluster analysis. Using cluster analysis, we'll do hierarchical and non-hierarchical clustering tomorrow. I hope you have enjoyed the session. If you have any question, please let me know. Any question from anyone? If you don't have any question, let's stop here. We'll continue tomorrow at the same time. I'm late to join this session. If you're late to join, if there is anything which you have missed, you can send me an email. I'll take a quick recap tomorrow before we start. I'll take a 5 to 10 minutes recap tomorrow, and then I'll move forward for next step. Because tomorrow's session is really important. I'll take real use cases. I'll take real data. I will analyze it. I will follow most of the steps people use to analyze the data. And I'll explain how you can interpret the result you get from SPSS, and how you can visualize the insight out of your data from data exploration side.
Sir, one question is there. Maybe he has joined late, Faisal Talib. So he's saying how to prepare data sheet. So we can have quick recap tomorrow on that.
Sure, we'll do that.
And
Data
one
sheet.
question is from Tabish Ahmed Abdullah. He's asking the email ID for the ebook if we want. So if you copy paste that email ID on the chat box, so I can share with everyone.
Sure. Let me just do that. I just did that. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just did that.
Okay, sir.
But you guys need to go through these tutorial on these website, and you'll find more interesting use cases and data analysis examples.
Sir, thank you very much, and it was very interesting session, and most of my questions has been answered in your presentation, so there is no question at all. So tomorrow I am looking forward for the rest of the remaining part of the SPSS you will tell to us. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks everyone for joining in. Stay safe, stay at home. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye all.